한심해 나라는 건 이렇게 무의미했는지 시작이 두려운 건지 이해가 안 돼 우울해 먼저는 난 이렇게 두려운 것인지 아픔이 꺼려지는지 이해가 안 돼.
So, this is Olympus Museum 70 Deluxe, a simple 35mm point-and-shoot camera sporting a 38 to 70mm lens, and it's fully automatic, which means that the exposure and the aperture are dealt for you. Along with that, this camera is very small and lightweight and compact, making it the perfect carry-around camera just for you.
심심해 죽을 듯이 좋아해 봤자 이러다 끝나겠다 싶어.
Now, I was actually lucky enough to be able to get my hands on one of these cameras for very cheap off of the Fresh Flame store. I'm not sponsored by them, but please go check them out as they are a vintage shop where you can not only buy cameras but also vintage clothing. So please check them out when you guys have the time. So I've actually shot on this camera before. For those who follow me on my Instagram page, you've seen a couple of pictures from this camera, and all I can say is that it did not come out quite what I wanted. Majority of the pictures were quite overexposed and were not pleasing to the eyes, so I'm going to give this a second chance with the Kodak 800 portrait film that I'm using, and hopefully I can capture some good moments with this camera.
마음은 정말 이렇게 무거운데 남들이 가볍게 봐 이해가 안 돼.
Really liked how the lighting worked. However, there is no initial main subject. For your first glance, it's quite messy. You don't know what you're looking at until you really concentrate and you can see the house, the rope across the trees, the playground, the swings. It could have been a lot more better if I had a main subject, but I really liked the lighting in this one. Now, to my surprise, this picture actually turned out quite good. Even though it was still a bit overexposed with the murky look, it captured what I was intended to capture, which was the zip line heading across to the other side. The shot that I took under the bridge turned out quite well. I really liked how the glow of the sun reflected off of the river, but it was still slightly overexposed and still slightly murky around the edges, but still pretty good shot nonetheless. Similar to the zipline shot, this shot was quite murky and overexposed, but I really liked how the subjects were behind the trees and secluded within the nature. But yeah, it could have turned out a lot more better without the overexposure and murkiness. This was the same shot, but I forgot that I had my flash on, and this is what came of it. I kind of like it. I kind of like how there is a small glow on the sign, but it does kind of take your eye away from the subject of the family within the picture. So I'm a bit on the fence, but it is definitely something different. Okay, so I really like this shot that I took. I did not expect it to come out like this, but I'm glad it did, because this really captures your eye in a bit. I really like the halation and the glow of the sun reflecting off of the river, and it really creates a very simple yet effective atmosphere within this shot. And yeah, I just really like this one. So overall, I was quite pleased with the results that came out of Olympus. It was a lot better than my prior experiences with it, even though majority of the shots weren't quite what I envisioned. The ones that did really made my time using the camera worth it. When I headed to my local film store, they did suggest that the reason why the pictures came out so overexposed and murky was probably because there was smudges or dust on the lenses. So that just means that it won't be the last time that I'll be using this camera.